Grade 12s, good day and welcome again as we continue our session revising on the September theory cat paper. Let's go. Right, grade 12s, thank you for joining me again. We are now on question number 9. Remember, this is from your September theory cat paper, so let's get going. Right, so question number 9 was an integrated scenario, they called it. This was in section C, and it was worth, if I just have a look here, let me just make 100% sure, it was worth 25 marks. So there was a scenario that they were talking about a PC or laptop, and they mentioned something called the GR12 headset. Now, the minute you see those letters VR, you need to remember that we're talking about virtual reality. Okay, so the first question was identify and describe the type of device, and they didn't mention the device, they just used the code GR12. So what you needed to say was a virtual reality headset. That's how you got your 2 marks for that. Then they asked for you to name one use and one disadvantage of this. Now, obviously, with the VR headset, it is great for games. It is great to immerse yourself in something, talking about using it for entertainment purposes, like watching movies, playing games. They talk about medical personnel being able to use it. It can be used in a research laboratory. You can use it for training someone in terms of driving without actually physically driving. Okay. However, it is going to be costly, so that's going to be a disadvantage. These things work on batteries, so you might have that fail. Some people might get disorientated by actually using this. And I've even seen video clips of people putting these VR headsets on, and they get so immersed in this thing. Let's say they play in some sort of fighting game, and they have this on, and they are busy moving around, and in reality, they actually end up kicking something in the room. Okay, so those are just some of the uses and disadvantages. Then I wanted to know 2 reasons why you would rather prefer to have a laptop. So here we're looking at the difference between a desktop and a laptop. Now we know when we talk about a desktop, we're talking about the machine on the desk. Obviously, it's not portable. We don't want to be moving that around. It doesn't work off a battery. So you would want to use a laptop, number 1, because it's portable. Number 2, because it works off a battery. Number 3, because it allows you to work anywhere. And you can connect to Wi-Fi, zones or hotspots which your desktop cannot. Okay, so that's how you got your 2 marks there. Then they carried on, identify 2 software-related problems, so program-related problems, that can reduce the speed of the computer, and then you need to give a solution for each. So if we're talking about programs causing a problem, we can think of malware. So viruses, for example. And how would you sort that out? You would have that sorted out with an antivirus program. Okay, so that's one of them. Then you could have another one where you are having updates. And I know many of you on your PCs, sometimes you're working and then this thing wants to do an update. So these updates are, automatically installed or downloaded. So if you want to stop that, you obviously need to change those settings. If there's maybe a problem in the program itself, you can uninstall the program and reinstall it. And if there's too many files on your machine that's slowing it down, you can always do a disk cleanup. You can always go and remove temporary files, anything like that. So those are just a few of the scenarios that you could use. Okay, 9.5 mentioned 2 devices that could assist the individual in the scenario to interact with the content on the monitor. Okay, so how would the person interact? From what I'm seeing here, the individual has eye issues. Okay, he's got eyesight issues. Now, please, grade 12s, there's a difference between someone who is blind and who has impaired vision. Okay, impaired vision does not mean the person is blind. It just means that they maybe can't see all the icons and things on the screen because it's too small. So you want to use the magnifying tool. You want to make the icons larger. You want to make the text larger so that they can interact properly. Okay, the person is not blind. Right? Next one, give 2 disadvantages of using VoIP software. So when we talk about VoIP software, we're talking about voice over internet protocol, or in other words, voice going over the internet. Like when you make a WhatsApp call, that is voice going over data, or voice going over the internet. So 2 disadvantages. Obviously, the 2 people who need to connect to one another, they need to use the same software. So you can't make a WhatsApp call to a Skype. You know, somebody that has Skype. Both needs to have Skype. Both need to have WhatsApp. You obviously need data, the main struggle at the moment. We know, I'm just going to use WhatsApp as an example. Sometimes if you're not in the right area, what happens? It disconnects and it says, deed, reconnecting. Okay, and obviously if you're making lots of calls and things, it can use up a lot of data. So those are just a few. You only needed to know 2 of those disadvantages. Next one, 2 possible uses for voice recognition software. So let's start with this. What is voice recognition software? This is a program that recognizes your voice and it responds accordingly. Okay, so voice recognition software, I'm sure you've seen it in many of the movies. The person speaks to, let's say, his front door and it unlocks. Okay, because it's recognized, the software has recognized the pitch and sound and tone of the individual's voice. Okay, then the next one, how do you prevent ransomware? I have dealt with this before. Again, just as revision, what is ransomware? It is software, so it's a program, but a malicious program, obviously, that's holding your PC, your data on the PC ransom. So these guys will usually do a ransomware attack, and then they'll send you an email to say, listen, if you want your data, then you're going to have to do A, B, and C, pay us, whether it's in cryptocurrency, rands, cash, whatever the case is. But that's what that is. So how can you prevent that? And they give us a number of options. I'm going to go through them. Be sure that your software is updated, that you have an antivirus software, that you have a backup of your data, that you double check the emails that are coming through. You don't click on unnecessary links. That will take you to things like this. So just be aware, regularly scan your PC, don't click on pop-ups, make sure that in your browser you've blocked all those pop-ups as well. Okay, now having said that, the next question asks, why do many people pay the ransom? Now if you've got, and I want you just to think of your laptop, what do you have in that laptop? You've got music, you've got pictures, you've got videos, and those pictures and videos, those are memories. They are worth more than money, okay? And this is why people will often pay for that because they might have very important files, business people. You might have very important pictures and videos that you don't want to lose, okay? Then they mention one method of payment that can be used for this. Now, obviously, these guys want to keep themselves anonymous. So they can use and usually use cryptocurrency because most of it can't be traced. All right. And you don't have to say Bitcoins, but if you just say cryptocurrency, that's also accepted. All right. The last 2, give 2 reasons for a software developer to release updates. Okay. So your software developer is the guy that's actually creating these apps. So why would they want to send updates? Why does WhatsApp have updates? Why does Windows have updates? Because as the program gets used, people see and maybe email through and let the company know, listen, this software is not working with this phone. It's not working well on this laptop. And so they have a look at it, see where the problems are, and they send through these updates to make sure that the software can work with all devices. Now, in WhatsApp's case, what they do is they force you to update. And the reason for that is simple. People are not all updating at the same time. Okay? Some people are avoiding the update. So they've made it mandatory to make sure that everybody using WhatsApp is up to date or they can't get in. All right. Then the last one, state 2. Okay, so let me just go back to that. So reasons for them releasing updates is fixing problems, improving security, and improving the efficiency of the software. That's the wording that they wanted. Doesn't have to be exactly like that, but that's more or less what they wanted. Then the last one, state 2 potential disadvantages of not being able to disable automatic updates. So think about this. When automatic updates run, this thing will download whenever there's an internet connection. So number one, you're going to use a massive amount of data. It's going to impact on the speed of your internet connection and the speed of anybody else using that. There's going to be a drop in computer performance because once it's done, it's going to want to install and you might be busy with something. And then you might also find, as many of us have found, that you might even have a drop in the performance of the PC after the update is complete. So yeah, and obviously when it downloads, you are taking up storage space. So there'll be a decrease in storage as well. And grade 12s, that is question number 9. That is 25 marks worth of theory. I hope this is helping, and I'm going to see you in the last video where we deal with question number 10. And then we would have covered everything in terms of your September 2020 theory paper. And we just wish you all the best. And we know you are going to do well.